Alright YouTube, and welcome to another Borderlands 3 video. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Flak's skill tree and coming up with a build that's personalised to my playstyle. I will say right off the bat that I do not consider myself some kind of master build maker. In fact, I'm quite the opposite, and it'll take me a while to get the hang of a character and figure out what works. Not to mention the damn game isn't out yet, so will I know if this build works? No, we have to wait until September the 13th to find that out. So there's a few skills I've seen that pique my interest and I think we can do some cool stuff with. For the action skill, I think I'm leaning most towards Fade Away, which we're going to equip right off the bat. And this comes under the Stalker skill tree, which is essentially Zero's deception skill but on steroids. So what Fade Away allows you to do is turn invisible for 15 seconds, and during these 15 seconds you can fire 3 shots, unlike Zero's deception skill where you can only fire 1 shot. Each shot you fire during Fade Away is automatically a critical hit, meaning that regardless of where you hit the enemy, the shot will be registered as a critical hit, which is absolutely wild. Not to mention that this skill gives you a plus 200% to your critical hit damage, and you also get plus 25% to your movement speed, and plus 3% health regen per second. Now obviously this skill without any augments applied sounds very good for a sniper type build, which is something I've never found much fun in my own personal opinion. So you may be wondering, why the hell would I choose Fade Away? Well, there's an augment further down the tree that I'll get into in just a second that optimizes this skill into something that I will personally really enjoy using, but for now let's discuss where the rest of these skill points are going to go. Oh, and I also think that for the pet we will choose Jabber sidekick, just because Jabbers are a new creature to the Borderlands universe. We've seen Skags and spider ants before, and I'm just curious to see what the Jabber can do. Not to mention the fact that he can wield a weapon, which is absolutely insane. So yeah, I'll be choosing the Jabber. And the plus 5% movement speed increase you get with the Jabber adds to the plus 25% you get during Fade Away, making that a total of plus 30% increase. So that's something worth having, I guess. Okay, so for the skills, I think it's worth investing 5 points into Furious Attack. I'm going to do that right now, because this I think will synergize quite well with an augment we're going to make use of further down the skill tree. Okay, so Furious Attack gives Flak a stack after shooting an enemy, and for each stack you get plus 2% to your gun damage and plus 4.8% to your handling. The max stacks you can have is 10, meaning that your highest buff you can achieve using this skill is a plus 48% increase to your handling, which is great, and a plus 20% increase to your gun damage, which will for sure come in handy further down the line. So now I want to put 5 skill points into Overclocked, and this gives Flak an increase to his fire rate, which again will massively come in handy for the augment we're going to use. So this gives a permanent plus 10% increase to fire rate and a further 10% increase for 4 seconds after reloading. So now we can equip that augment we've been talking about and explain why it works so well with these particular skills. So as I said earlier, I'm not much of a fan of sniper builds, and it's not something I particularly enjoy using, but I think that Flak is going to be quite versatile, and despite what the trailer and the imagery we've seen of Flak has shown us, where Flak is always holding a sniper rifle or whatever, that is not necessarily going to be the only way that you can build Flak, and here's why. So this action skill augment is called Gorillas in the Mist, and what this does is it makes it so that Fade Away doesn't end after you've fired your 3 shots. In fact, you can fire as much as you want within the time frame of Fade Away, and it will only end when the action skill time runs down. Now for balance, this skill actually reduces the amount of time you get in Fade Away, reducing it from 15 seconds down to just 8 seconds, and it also drops down the critical hit damage from plus 200% to just plus 50, which may sound awful, and you may all be thinking I'm crazy for thinking that this is a good idea, but hear me out. So say we're using a fast firing SMG or assault rifle, which is likely what I'll be using as Flak because that is what I enjoy, which is why I love Maya so much. We have the Overclock skill, which grants us with a potential plus 20% to our fire rate, meaning that while in Fade Away we can rapidly fire our SMG or assault rifle or whatever and put out some crazy DPS with every shot being a guaranteed critical hit. This is something that I'm excited to try out. It may end up being able to put out just as much, if not more DPS as it would if we were doing 3 sniper shots for example. We'll have to wait and see, but I think with the right weapon this skill combo can have some pretty damn good DPS. So that's what we're going to focus this whole build around, I guess. So let's see what else we can use further down the tree and see if we can get any extra boost to this whole concept. So we're going to go ahead and upgrade our Jabber here to the Beefcake Jabber, which gives Flak a permanent 10% increase to max health. We also get to keep that plus 5 movement speed increase, which is good, and the Jabber now comes equipped with a shotgun and can use a melee weapon when Flak issues an attack command. So the next skills that we have available to us are Lick the Wounds and Turn Tail and Run, and I think that Lick the Wounds is pretty much something that everyone wants to run, especially if you're going to be playing solo like I will be on my first playthrough. So what this does is it allows your pet to revive you when you enter fight for your life. For just 1 skill point it's definitely worth grabbing. It's pretty much a guaranteed skill for any build I'd say. So then we have Turn Tail and Run, which we can put a maximum of 3 skill points into, which I think we're going to do. It has two separate states of effect, one while moving and one while remaining still. So while moving, with 3 skill points in this ability, Flak gets a plus 17.4 increase to damage reduction and a 0.9% health regen, which is obviously great for retreating from a sticky situation. Not to mention we have that plus 30% movement speed increase we already have and plus 3% health regen if we activate Fade Away. So that would up our regen to plus 3.9%. Now if we wanted to remain standing instead of retreating, this skill gives Flak a plus 25% increase to gun damage, which when combined with all 10 stacks of Furious Attack gives us a possible output of plus 45% to our gun damage. Not only this, but we also get a plus 12% increase to our fire rate, which again, when combined with the above skill Overclocked, we get a potential plus 32% increase to our fire rate, which synergizes well with the Gorillas in the Mist augment, granting us a greater DPS during Fade Away, which is what we want to be focusing on with this build. We're also going to go ahead for now and put this augment, Not My Circus, into our second augment slot, just because at this point we can, and you can reset your augments whenever you want while playing. This isn't one I'm particularly going to use, but for now, until we get further down the skill tree, we may as well have it equipped. It's kind of useful because when Fade Away ends, your pet sort of just distracts the surrounding enemies for you for a few seconds, allowing you to retreat and get your bearings a little bit, so you're not losing out on anything by having it equipped at all. So I've realised now that we need to invest some more points into other skills in order to progress down the tree. So what we're going to do is just put 1 point into this skill, which is Eager to Impress, because it allows us to reduce our action skill cooldown time by either getting kills ourselves or when our pet gets killed. This is something definitely worth investing in and something I may come back to and drop a few more skill points into as we go along. So moving on, we have a new augment unlock which relates to Fade Away, so I think we're going to go ahead and replace the Not My Circus augment with this one, since we're wanting to focus our build heavily around the strength of this action skill. So this one is called Until You Are Dead, and what it does is it allows you to keep the health regen and movement speed that you gain during Fade Away for 10 seconds after the skill has ended. So that is well worth it, especially if we can pop a few more points into Eager to Impress further down the line, making it so that we get our action skill back quicker. That could potentially mean that we can be in and out of Fade Away super quick while keeping all the buffs, if that makes any sense. Okay, so the next skills we have available are Fast and the Furious and Hidden Machine, and I will say that Hidden Machine may be more effective if we chose to stick with the Not My Circus augment, because what this skill does is it gives Flak increased damage to an enemy if that enemy is distracted and attacking a different target, so in this case Flak's pet. But because we've now got rid of Not My Circus, I can't really see the skill being as effective as it could have been, so instead we're going to go ahead and drop 3 skill points into the Fast and the Furious. And again, at this point we need more points to move further down, so we're going to go back up and put another 1 or 2 into Eager to Impress. There we go. That action skill cooldown that we get from that skill is massively important. Okay, so what does Fast and the Furious... I can't even say this one. I know it's like I don't know. It's like furry, like furious. Fast and the Furious. Okay, so... I can't even say this. I can't even say the name of the skill. Okay, so what does Fast and the Furious do? So with the 3 out of 3 points in this skill, we get a plus 25% increase to gun damage and a plus 10% increase to movement speed when Flak is above half health. So if we combine this with all of our previous buffs we have to gun damage and movement speed, this is going to give us a huge increase, provided we can keep Flak above half health, which definitely won't be too difficult considering we also have invested in some skill buffs where we get constant health regen. So this skill is going to be super useful to have. So at this point we've also unlocked the Gunslinger Jabber, but I honestly can't decide whether to go for it or keep the Beefcake Jabber. Beefcake gives us the plus 10% maximum health increase, whereas the Gunslinger gives us a 5% increase to critical hit damage, which is of course beneficial for our Fade Away action skill, but I think I'll stick with the Beefcake for now. But as I say, we don't know what's going to work well just yet, since we don't yet have the game, so Beefcake it is. So now we can switch out our Until You Are Dead action skill augment for the Unblinking Eye one, and this one is absolutely insane. This is probably the best skill in this tree in my opinion, and I'll explain why. So what this augment does is it gives you critical hit damage increase for successive hits on an enemy. However, this resets every 3 hits. Now if this is combined with an assault rifle or SMG and the Gorillas in the Mist augment, do you know what that means, guys? It doesn't matter that it resets after 3 hits, because you can just keep firing and firing at the same enemy over and over and getting your crit damage increase until Fade Away runs out. So the way this works is that you get a plus 75% crit damage increase per hit, and this resets after 3 hits. So your first shot will grant you plus 75%, and since we're using Gorillas in the Mist, we start with plus 50%, so our first shot will always give us plus 125, then our second shot plus 200, and our third shot plus 275, and then it will reset and go back down to plus 125. So picture this, you're firing a rapid fire SMG or assault rifle or something along those lines, and you're just laying your bullets into a boss. It doesn't matter where you're even hitting them, but as long as you're shooting them and you have all your buffs to your fire rate and all that good stuff, you're dealing constant streams of critical hit damage while Fade Away is active. It's going plus 125, plus 200, plus 275, then resetting, plus 125, plus 200, plus 275. You can get some absolutely nasty DPS with this skill provided you are hitting the same target over and over, i.e. a boss. And in theory, this skill sounds absolutely insane, and this is going to be my personal build that I'll be running with on my very first playthrough, and we'll see exactly how effective it will be on September the 13th. Now moving onwards, we have Rage and Recover, which I'm going to go ahead and drop all 5 skill points into. This is a kill skill that allows Flak and the pet to regenerate health after getting a kill, and with 5 points in this skill you get a regen of plus 8% of missing health per second for 3 seconds. So this is great, especially for keeping Flak above half health in order to get that gun damage and movement speed increase from the Fast and the I can't say the skill. Fast and the Furious. So now I think we're going to go ahead and grab the capstone for this tree and also drop the 2 missing points into Eager to Impress. But yeah, the capstone is called the Power Inside, and it gives Flak and Flak's pet increased damage, which is plus 25 when Flak activates the action skill. If Flak is at full health, which because we've invested a lot in our health regen skills and whatnot he very well might be, then that damage is then doubled. So again, this just synergizes great with all the other skills we've invested in, and I'll be totally honest, I haven't looked much into the other skill trees because I was dead set on this build, so I have no idea where else to invest my points right now. But we're going to go ahead and dive into the Hunter skill tree, which I believe is this way. There we are. I have noticed a few cool skills that can synergize quite well with our current build, the first of which being Leave No Trace. This gives Flak a percentage chance of adding ammo to the current magazine after scoring a critical hit, which of course we will be doing a lot of with our Fade Away action skill. So I'm going to drop all 3 points into this skill, which will give us a plus 36% to our chance of adding ammo to our current mag. This can help us potentially fire indefinitely during Fade Away, meaning that we can maximize the potential of our crits, so we hopefully don't have to reload and waste our precious Fade Away action skill duration. We're also going to go ahead and put some points into Interplanetary Stalker, which is a stacking kill skill that we can stack at the same time as our other stacking skills in the previous tree. We're going to put just enough points in here to be able to move down to the next lot of skills, but again, we may come back to this and add a few more if we need to. So what this skill does is it gives bonuses to all damage dealt, with additional bonuses dependent on the enemies we kill. I'm not too fussed about this skill to be honest, but it's nice to have because it can definitely give us those added little buffs that we may need when we're least expecting them. Moving on, we now have 3 new skills available to us, but out of these I'm favouring Head Count, which gives us a chance of reducing our action skill cooldown when we score a critical hit. With 3 points in this skill tree, which we're going to go ahead and do right now, it gives us a plus 30% chance to reduce the cooldown with a cooldown time of minus 2 seconds, which I think is going to be greatly beneficial for us with our other skills in the first tree, because the faster we get our Fade Away action skill back, the faster we can dish out that crazy DPS. So any skill that reduces action skill cooldown is a must in my eyes. So now I'm not going to lie, I'm a little stuck with these last skill points to be honest, but we do want to get down to 2 Fang, so we're going to drop a few more into Interplanetary Stalker until that allows us to do that. Now 2 Fang gives us a percentage chance to fire an extra projectile per shot, which of course is going to help us with our critical hit DPS during Fade Away, so we're going to max that out with 5 skill points to give us a plus 25% chance of firing an extra shot, which is great for this build in my eyes. So now we have 5 skill points left, so we're going to go put that last skill point into Interplanetary Stalker because we may as well. Then we're going to put 1 into Big Game because this improves the effectiveness of all the skills in this tree, and we've invested in quite a few. And then we're going to put our last 3 into the Most Dangerous Game, just because it sounds like a pretty interesting one to me. Whenever Flak kills a badass or stronger enemy, they get increased critical hit damage, gun damage and handling for 2 whole minutes, which is amazing to have active in the background while we go about doing our other stuff. Not to mention it improves critical hit damage by plus 10%, which again adds our crit buffing skills from the previous tree. So yeah, I think that's the build. So this is pretty much an SMG build for Flak in my eyes, and I think it should be able to put out some absolutely insane DPS, but as I say guys, we don't know until the game drops and we actually get to test this out in game. For now this is all just theory crafting. So thanks for tuning in and watching this video on how I would personally build Flak the Beastmaster. I really appreciate you guys coming here and supporting the channel and checking it out. Let me know down below what you guys think of the build and whether or not you think I've made some right or wrong decisions, and please be sure to hit that like button if you did enjoy. Consider subscribing if you're new and love Borderlands related content. Follow me on Twitter at memphexxpl for daily tweets and Borderlands discussions, and drop a comment telling me what you think, what you'd change, whether I've been stupid and wasted skill points or whether I've been smart with my decisions. Thanks again guys, and I'll see you in the next one.